Hello and welcome back to another Friday morning Q&A. I am so happy that you are here. We're back in my big comfy chair, and if you haven't noticed, I fixed the letter J, so now it's like where it's supposed to be. I actually fixed it a couple of videos back. It might be funny if you could tell me which one that it was that I switched it in. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First, I want to bring you up to speed on where we're at with everything. The book is with the editor, so the book that I just finished writing is in the editing process now, so that comes back to me at the end of this month, and then it's almost ready for advanced reviews or reviewers. So what that means is if you want to see this book before it's actually in print, you have the opportunity to read the book as an advanced reviewer. So you would read the book and then give us honest feedback on Amazon during the week that the book launches. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link. It'll be in the comments. Anything else? Let's see. The podcast is live and there are now 12 episodes uploaded up there. And what I'm doing with that podcast is I'm actually taking these topics that we talk about each week and I'm turning them into a little bit bigger, a little bit more of an educational piece, and there's a little bit more of a takeaway there. So if you're looking for, or you're really enjoying this information, but you want just a little bit more details about things, or maybe more how to fix things, all of that, you can go and listen to that on the podcast, and that gives you a little bit more details because I assume that people are going to have more time to listen rather than to watch. But if you also wanted to see more of these videos, you could go to the YouTube channel for that. Okay. Today's topic is on brain fog, and the reason that I wanted to do this topic is because it has been coming to me in the form of clients, in the form of friends, in the form of questions over this last week pretty consistently. And that's how I come up with these topics each week, is I just kind of listen to the most common complaint or the most common question that I'm hearing or dealing with each week, and then I turn it into kind of a little topic for you guys, because I feel like if this is something that's so common and a lot of people are dealing with it, then maybe it will help more people or reach more people to do it this way or to tell you this way. So I wanted to talk to you about that, about brain fog and just what it is, and maybe you've never even heard the term before, but maybe you even have some of the symptoms. So I wanted to talk about first, what is brain fog? And I really believe that the person who named this must have been in a state of brain fog when they named it, because the name is so literal. It's as if your brain is under fog. And it's like you're driving late at night on a foggy road, but it's familiar to you. So you're comfortable in some ways, but you still can't see very far in front of you, and things are kind of getting lost out of your vision. And that's what we see with brain fog, people who are going through this. It feels like they know who they are, they know their surroundings, they're not confused, but it's very difficult for them to make decisions or to take in new information, to remember things that are coming in. And what ends up happening, or what this ends up being caused by, is just like an overload of stress in our brain. And at some point, when we get to that max capacity, things just start to fall off of our plate and we can't take any more on or any more in. And at that point we have to look at our lives and say, okay, where can we cut back? Where can we say no to some things? Where can we give ourselves a little bit of time to just be quiet even, or just to kind of regroup, regenerate, and feel, okay, we can continue with the day. That giving yourself some of that time during the day can actually help to declutter some of all of this that's going on, and that will help to clear up the mind a little bit. But people who are actually dealing with brain fog, and this is a very serious thing that happens if you're dealing with autoimmune disease, or you have a lot of inflammation in the body, or you're just kind of all over not doing that well. Brain fog can come on even during like detox, or if you have an autoimmune disease that you're detoxing from or that you're coming in recovery from, you can have a lot of brain fog come in then. And it just feels like this constant state of fog, and it often lasts for a long period of time. People deal with it for 4, 5, 6 months before really figuring out what is going on. It's not something we really talk about. It gets kind of swept under the rug when we say things like, oh, you're just forgetful, or you've been forgetful lately, or I haven't been getting enough sleep, or my memory isn't as good as it used to be, or I'm just getting older so I'm not remembering things as well. But this is actually a real problem that suggests that we may have some inflammation in the brain. So it may be a necessary thing to look at your lifestyle, look at your stress, look at the foods that you're eating, and maybe even think about adding in some supplements that help with the inflammation, help with good healthy fats like fish oil and turmeric so you can get down the inflammation. If this is something that's been going on kind of consistently and you feel like you're just kind of in this constant state of, I don't really know what's going on, you could be dealing with this brain fog. And it's worth, and would be really helpful, I think, to go into it a little bit more and look into maybe what's causing it, because you definitely don't have to live this way. And you definitely don't have to have that, just switch over to being a forgetful person or not having a good memory. If you have always had a really good memory and you've always done really well with these things, then you should be able to get back to that point by making some adjustments in your life. And I can tell you from personal experience, I went through having a bout of brain fog, and it lasted about 6 months. And at first I wanted to just kind of brush it off and say things like, oh, it's just mom brain. My brain hasn't come back yet from having my children. But it got to the point where I couldn't make decisions without having kind of this meltdown. And even something as simple as we're driving in the car and my husband would say like, which way are we supposed to go, left or right? And I would just like melt down. I couldn't make the decision. It was so overwhelming to me to even have to think about it. And I was dealing with blood sugar regulation issues at the time before I learned how to manage my fat and carbohydrate intake to make sure that I was keeping that good blood sugar levels. I was having these really bad blood sugar crashes. And during that time, people would try to help me, like, what can I make you to eat? Do you want something to eat? Where should we go eat? And I could never make those decisions. That was one of the hard things with brain fog. Another one was being super forgetful. I couldn't remember anything, the days of the week, what we were supposed to be doing on those days. And I had to get really, really religious about writing every single thing down in a calendar and checking the calendar every single day and making sure that I was always on top of that, because things would just fall off all the time. People would call and say, hey, where are you? And I'd be like, I didn't know I was supposed to be anywhere. It was totally gone, forgotten. And the scariest part for me, and the part that made me really, really shift my life, was looking at my family members, my husband, my kids, my mom, my sisters, and not being able to say their names. So I would be looking at you and not be able to say what your name was, even though I knew that I knew you. I wasn't confused. I wasn't like stressed in the moment, and I would just be standing there like a fool, feeling like a fool. I couldn't tell you what your name was. And so I just kind of adopted this like calling people pet names, like, oh, hey honey, or hey babe. And I think people just kind of went with it without ever really realizing that there was a problem. But now I've been starting to tell people the reason that all started was because I was so terrified all the time that I was going to say the person's name wrong. Because that was the other part. I thought like that the name would come to my mind and then I would think immediately, but what if that's the wrong name? Even to my children who I named. I gave them their name, and that's a very scary thing to be dealing with at any age, and especially if you're a younger person, in your young 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We shouldn't be dealing with any of these type of brain deteriorating diseases. There's absolutely no reason why we can't keep a healthy and strong brain throughout our entire lifetime. That's the one thing in our body that continues to collect information and doesn't actually ever reach capacity. We have an unlimited ability for storage in our brain, an unlimited capacity for knowledge. And the more we learn, the more it incorporates. So there's no reason for us to lose anything. There isn't this imaginary, you know, like folder on your computer that says like 200 terabytes or 1000 you know, whatever it is. It's never gonna get full. So we can always learn more information, we can always incorporate, we can always continue to grow and to learn. And research is showing now that we can even enhance our memory as we get older, which was actually a common thought, that we just naturally lost memories as we get older, that we naturally declined in our brain and our cognitive capacity. And it's absolutely not true. Research is showing now that we can play these types of memory games, playing games like Sudoku and doing the crossword puzzle, actually increase our understanding throughout our entire lifetime. So into our 100s and more, if you go further than that. So there's no reason for us to be dealing with any of these things. So if all of a sudden your memory isn't as good as it used to be, or you're just forgetting things all the time, or you feel like you're foggy, or you can't remember your family's names, you may actually be dealing with something that isn't a natural part of degeneration, because we don't naturally have to have a brain decline at all. We can contribute to our body and continue to grow these cells and continue to nourish our brain by, you know, mentally stimulating it, as well as taking supplements and eating a good healthy diet that support brain and cognitive functioning. So if you're dealing with this, it isn't normal. It might be common, which I'd love to do a video specifically just on the difference between those two words. Normal meaning that it is supposed to happen to you, and common meaning it happens to a lot of people. And we say that, and when we go to the doctor's offices, we say, oh, it's normal for this to happen. And that's not true. Normal meaning it's supposed to be the thing that happens to your body, and genetically, that's just not true. But it is common, meaning a lot of people in these age groups are going through these things. But we don't have to be part of that commonality. We can be normal and have normally regulated genes that continue to grow and regenerate and make us feel amazing. So if you're going through this, just stop, take a look at your life, realize that you don't have to feel this way, and you can absolutely get back to that like sharp as a tack, as much as you always were, as much as you ever were, or even better. And maybe it's something as simple as making some dietary changes, or making some changes to your mindset and the way that you think about and operate during your day. These simple changes can make your brain start functioning better, and then you can let go of all of those fears around not being able to remember things. Because honestly, that's the most horrifying thing to me, would be to lose my brain, or to lose my memory, or to lose my ability to think about things. And I know I'm not alone in this fear, because there's so many people who are doing things to protect their brain. But I guess I want to instill a little bit of hope. If that's something that you're dealing with, I absolutely went through it myself. It was horrible and complete hell, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst nightmare, or on my worst enemy, I guess I should say. I don't have those either. Anyways, it's horrible. But it's something that you can get through and get past and grow from, and continue to have an experience and have these wonderful memories. So don't feel, lost yet. You're still on the right path, and you can definitely get some help. So if this is something that you're dealing with, reach out to somebody to help you. Look online, start researching the term brain fog, and just see what you come up with. There's plenty of checklists and quizzes online that'll say, are you dealing with these symptoms? You may be dealing with this. And in that case, then you have a starting place, and you know where to start going and what to start working on for yourself, so that you can have like the best life ever, because that's all we really want, right? I just want to be able to say to all of you, like, look at you living your best life. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Friday. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you.